So Nintendo has finally done their full presentation on the Switch, and we have all the information on the system and the games, and I would like to give my thoughts on the system. Now, in this video, I'm just going to be talking solely about the system itself, and in a separate video, I will be talking about the games for the system, and if you would like to see my part 2 where I talk about the games, I will leave a link down in the description where you can check out that video. Or there should be an eye icon coming out right now in the top right hand corner of this video. You can also click on that when it comes across screen right now to watch part 2 after you're done with this. Now, if you don't know what the Switch is, basically it's a handheld unit that you can play on the TV and you can play on the go. So it's a hybrid console. You put the console in a dock to play it on the TV, and then you take it out of the dock to take it on the go, and then it becomes your traditional handheld you take on the go. And we did actually get the price for the system. The final price for the system that's coming out on launch is going to be $299, and is coming out on March the 3rd. Now, everyone was actually surprised that it was $299 from the rumors and everything we've heard up until the actual presentation. We thought it was actually going to be $250. Honestly, if Nintendo would have went $250 on the system itself, that actually would have been almost a no-brainer for a lot of people. It would have probably been an impulse buy for so many people out there looking to pick up a console. That would have been such a great price point. But I think the reason Nintendo went $299 is maybe they wanted to make sure that they would have some way they can cut back the price if they need to, and then they can cut it down to $250, so they would give them some room. At $250, it wouldn't really give them a lot of room to play with if they wanted to cut it back. And we honestly also don't know how much technology went into making this. The technology could have cost them more than $250, so they don't want to take a loss, of course, or even break even with it. Makes sense. So that's probably why they went with $299. I know a lot of people out there don't like comparing Nintendo consoles to the other consoles on the market, but you pretty much have to because they are also gaming boxes. And if you're to compare them to the base model Xbox One and PS4, then $299 is not really too great of a price compared to the competition, because I think those boxes also start at $299, so we'll have to see how this all pans out in the long run. Now, in terms of the actual graphical capabilities of the Switch, the processing power, it looks like, or it is confirmed, that we are going to be playing games on the TV, on the dock, in traditional console mode in 1080p 60 frames per second. Now, if you compare that to their last offerings, the Wii U, actually, the Switch is not really an upgrade over the Wii U. We will get better graphics a little bit, but not by a lot. For the most part, you probably won't even tell the differences. And compared to what's already on the market, that's not great. So as of right now, the Switch is not going to be a powerhouse of a system. So if you're looking for a powerhouse of a system, unfortunately, the Switch is not going to be it. Unfortunately. Now, also, when we go into the mobile mode where you play it off the TV, it is confirmed we're going to be playing the games in mobile mode on the Switch itself in 720p 60 frames per second. 720p is low for 2017, but you got to realize two things. Two things is that most games are going to be optimized for the screen, and most likely you're not going to notice that the games only play in 720p on the screen. And second of all, it is going to be playing games better than your traditional consoles on the market right now, the Vita and the 3DS. Those don't even play in HD. So to be playing it in HD, and from all the footage we have seen too, it looks like you're pretty much playing the console game on the go, which is pretty impressive to play the same exact game you're playing on the TV on the go. It's not like we're playing an actual portable system like the 3DS or Vita, like how systems been in the past. No, you're not getting a half-baked game, or in terms of the graphics. We're getting the full same graphics power on the go that we were in on the TV pretty much. 720p, 1080p won't really make a difference on the go. It'll look like the console graphics on the go, which is going to be very nice. Now, moving towards the battery life, it looks like the battery life of the system is going to be 3 to 6 hours. 3 to 6 hours is definitely okay for the system. Of course, it would have been great if we got 6 to 8 hours, but I think 3 to 6 is going to be great, especially since they did show off that the system does use USB Type-C, so you will be able to use your own charger, and you'll probably be able to use power banks that you have laying around. So in terms of the battery life of this, it's pretty much not that bad. It's not amazing either, but it's probably not that bad. It's probably going to be pretty good with the USB Type-C included and whatnot. And with them scaling back to 720p on the actual system itself, it's going to be good because then it won't drain as much battery and it will run smoothly and whatnot. I think that's why also Nintendo went 720p on the system instead of 1080p. They just wanted to make sure everything would run smoothly, the battery would be okay and everything. So they played it safe with 720p on the system itself when you're playing in mobile mode. I think that's one of the other reasons. Now, the biggest thing about the system is the Joy-Cons and what they showed off at the actual presentation. Most of it looks like that the Joy-Cons are just pretty much Wiimote 2.0. So if you like the Wiimotes, it's pretty much a copycat of the actual Wiimotes from way back from 2006, 2007 when the Wii came out. And honestly, I kind of have mixed feelings over that. Now, in terms of capabilities, they have a new thing on the Joy-Cons called HD Rumble. Now, what they showed off in the presentation, they showed off him holding the Joy-Cons, and the Joy-Cons are supposed to make you feel like you can actually understand real things. Like, here's an example. Like, one of the things they show him putting ice cubes in a glass, and when you're holding the Joy-Con, it's supposed to make you feel like you can feel real life things. Like, he showed that he can actually feel that there's two ice cubes or ice cubes shaking around in the Joy-Cons, and then when the water filled in, it feels like he's actually pouring it and whatnot. So HD Rumble is supposed to be a big step up over traditional Rumble. Is that going to be a gimmick in the long run? It's hard to tell if it's really going to be a gimmick in the long run. This could very well much be a gimmick in the long run. One thing the Joy-Cons do have, they do actually have a camera built onto the Joy-Cons, but it looks like I don't know how many developers are going to be taking that into consideration as well. It could be another Wii U situation where the gamepad for a lot of games wasn't even utilized and they really didn't take full advantage of the screen on the Wii U gamepad. So we honestly really don't know. That looks like it might be a gimmick. For the most part, it might be a gimmick. Now, also, they did show off, they did announce that there's only going to be one SKU. It's going to be a 32 gig model. So we do have a 32 gig model coming out. They're not making different SKUs for this. They are going to have two different systems at launch. One is going to be a standard console with two gray Joy-Cons, and one other console is going to be a console with two different Joy-Cons that are colored. One's going to be red and one's going to be blue. They're neon colors, so they're kind of bright. They honestly look a little bit like kids' toys, if you ask me, because they are bright. They're not really a mature red and blue. They're more of a bright red and blue, so that may go over. Overall, 32 gig is okay because they did also say that you are going to be able to put in a micro SD card, I think up to 256 gig. So to have 256 gigs in your system plus the storage system, I think for the most part it'll be okay in terms of the storage situation. And also, I did forget to mention on the Joy-Con side, it is going to have, of course, motion controls on the Joy-Con, just like the Wii. Pretty much like I was stating before, Wiimote 2.0 for the Joy-Cons. And as it comes for the system, they really didn't show off anything in terms of like the operating system or like the OS of the system, so we didn't really see any menus or whatnot. He did show us a little preview of the menus, but for the most part, we didn't see much footage. He just skimmed over it, so we really don't have nothing about the system or the operating system we're going to be used. We didn't see any of the features of the actual Switch itself when you're actually on it. Now, they did actually talk about how that it does have a share button on it, and the share button on it actually allows you to actually share your photos and your gaming videos. You can take screenshots and take videos of your gameplay and share them to social media on the actual box, which is nice. And one thing that really did shock most of us, I did forget to mention in the beginning of the video, which is probably the most important thing of this whole entire thing, is the big thing that they announced is that we were not expecting at all. I think nobody was expecting it, is that right now, it will cost money to play online. That was really a big shocker. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that concerns me when it comes to their online infrastructure. As you know, Nintendo is not good with their online infrastructure. They don't really have this cut out. Their servers aren't that good. The features aren't that good, especially with the Wii U. We didn't have any features. We had a friends list, but that was pretty much it. Sometimes you can join people, but you couldn't send invites to games and whatnot. It really depended on what game. Overall, it wasn't a great experience. At least they did get rid of the friend codes, and I'm pretty sure that the Switch is not going to have any friend codes. They're most likely going to get rid of the friend codes, so that's great news, because if they brought back friend codes, that would pretty much be a killer for Nintendo. If they brought back the friends code, that would be pretty much stupid. Also, they did say that at launch for the first half of 2017, you're not going to have to pay for the online. It's going to be like you're going to get a trial until it releases, because right now they did not confirm the price of the online. The online is actually coming out in 2017 sometime and in the fall, so it is coming out in the fall. We have no pricing. Honestly, if they don't fix a lot of their problems with the online infrastructure, they cannot charge $60 or even $50. That's way too high. And one thing I've always had problems with at least Nintendo stuff is that they don't have a lot of games to play online. At least with the Wii U, they had like their traditional staples, Mario Kart, and they also had Splatoon, and then they had Smash Brothers, and they're going to honestly need more games if they're going to warrant paying for online, because a couple of games is not enough for a full-blown experience. More games are going to need online. They did also say with the online, you are going to get a free game. I'm not quite sure what that means, but they said you're going to get one like old retro school game from like one of their old systems from like Super Nintendo or whatnot. You are going to get one, but they didn't actually state what it is, so it actually could be any game, and we're not sure if you get to keep the game or whatnot, or if it cycles. As long as you have online, it just keeps cycling, and maybe you don't get to keep it at all. Once your subscription runs out, you just don't get to keep it. It's like one free game for owning it, for just having your subscription. So I don't really know how it works. And one thing it said on their actual like webpage, if you go to Nintendo's webpage right now, it said that for some odd reason it said that to get voice communication as of right now, you will need a smart app and on your smartphone, and that could be really kind of bad if you always have to connect your smart device to the Switch to talk to your friends and whatnot. That's not the best solution, because you'll have to have the smartphone there, and your smartphone could die. You'll have to worry about charging it while you're playing the game and whatnot. So it's honestly better if they have it built in. So hopefully they'll fix that, or hopefully it'll be good. And also looks like that smart app you will have to pay for as well. It's not going to be a free app. You'll get to try it just like they're online, but then later down the road it looks like you're going to have to pay for that app. So right now it's looking pretty rough in terms of the actual online infrastructure that the Switch is going to have. There's a whole bunch of concerns that has left. They're honestly definitely going to have to fix the online. That's probably the biggest shocker. Now moving on, they did actually show off a whole bunch of accessories for the Switch. I have them pulled up on my computer right now. There's so much to go through. I have it pulled up, so I'm going to be looking at the actual my actual computer screen to look at the accessories. So for the accessories, we have the Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. I think the one on the actual Wii U was only $50. So this is actually kind of expensive for a Pro Controller, coming in at $70. But considering it has a lot of features in it, it has the HD Rumble. It also has built-in Amiibo support. And the Switch does have built-in Amiibo support as well. They did actually show that off in the presentation, which I did forget to mention, but it's not like really a big deal. We honestly knew that was coming, because they already have a lot of Amiibos out, over 100 now. So yeah, I think the reason that some of these are actually priced pretty high is because they have so much technology in them. That honestly does concern me, because these accessories could, if you're buying multiple accessories, it could rack up, especially if you're buying the system and a game and all that. It just gets really expensive. Overall, I don't really love the pricing of their accessories. I think for most people, they're agreeing that the accessories are kind of too high. And then they do have Joy-Cons that you can buy separately. They come in a package of 2. You can get a package of 2 gray ones, package of 2 blue ones, package of 2 red ones, and package of a red and blue in the same packaging. And just like before in the beginning of the video, I was talking about how they have another one with red and blue Joy-Cons that you can get at launch. It's not a different SKU. It's just another version of the system, but it has 32 gig built in. It's exactly the same system, just with different Joy-Cons. Don't worry if you don't pick up that and you want that down the line, because you can pick up extra Joy-Cons that are colored. But buying Joy-Cons in a package of 2 will run you $80 flat, and that's more expensive than the Pro Controller that I just talked about. It is way more expensive. $80 is pretty expensive. Most likely, you won't need to buy new Joy-Cons unless maybe you're playing a game that requires 4 players or whatnot, but very, very expensive for the Joy-Cons. I did forget to mention that the Joy-Cons will have an L and R button on them, so you will be able to have an L and R if you're playing like just using the Joy-Cons. You can flip them on the side like in Mario Kart, and you'll be able to have L and R buttons. Like it's like an attachment that has like a wrist strap, just like the Wii. And then moving down, you can buy Joy-Cons one in a box, and one in a box is going to cost you $50. Right now, they only have, you can only buy one in a box, and they're only the gray ones. So if you wanted like a single red one or a single blue one, it looks like at this time it is not possible. And honestly, you're better off not buying one in a package for $50. You're probably better off buying two in a package for $80, because if you wanted another one down the line, you're paying more than the $80. If you're buying two, that's $100. So most likely, I don't even know why would really anyone want to consider one Joy-Con for $50. You're better off buying two, even if you're not going to use the next one, because $80. And if you want another one, it's $100 for two individually, not in the same packages. And then we have a Joy-Con charging grip, and the Joy-Con charging grip is $29.99. So that's like one of the least expensive accessories right now. It's only $29.99. I'm not sure if the one in the box actually charges the Joy-Cons. I'm not 100% sure about that, but honestly, I don't think the one in the box charges the Joy-Cons, because they are giving you a grip in the box that you slide your Joy-Cons on to make you feel like an actual Wii Pro controller. So if you don't really have the money for a Switch Pro controller, then what you could do is you can do the poor man's Switch Pro controller. You can just put the Joy-Cons on the included grip in the box, and that pretty much solves the problem right there. And then they are selling the Nintendo Switch dock. The Nintendo Switch dock separately is going to be $89. It does include one in the box, but if you want to put it on multiple TVs, you can buy spares for $89.99, but $89.99 again is pretty expensive for this dock. So yeah, and then they also did release Joy-Con wheels, which are pretty much Wii wheels from the past. You put your Joy-Cons in this wheel, and then you pretend you're driving just like the old Wii days. So you can really see how a lot of this is just feeling like the Wii overall. But honestly, for my thoughts of the system is actually a really solid system. It's cool that you can play your games on the TV, and it's cool you can take them on the go, and they're pretty much console quality games on the go. The only thing that really concerns me is accessories. The accessories for it are very, very expensive. They're pretty expensive. And don't forget to check out part 2 where I go in depth over the games lineup and all that. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.